Greetings, I'm your host, Jason Miles, and welcome to another episode of This is Revolution Podcast for all the returning listeners, subscribers, and of course, our very valued patrons. Thank you so much for coming back. To those new to the channel, thank you for taking a moment to check us out. If you dig what we're doing, please hit like and, of course, subscribe. It is a passive gesture that goes a long way in promoting the channel. I want to thank all of you that joined me earlier this morning. Much earlier this morning for my talk with Bram Given of Reball Press, where we discussed what it's like launching a left publishing house in the era of free speech repression. It was a lively conversation. That show is up now on YouTube, and we have all of our main shows in playlists, so they're easy for you to find. Just a brief reminder that if you dig the wide variety of programming we have here on TIR and you want to make sure we can stay on air, become a patron or a paid YouTube subscriber. When you become a patron or a paid YouTube subscriber, you get early access to the audio-only podcast. The Crisis Papers, issue 10 is up. Don't work yourself into a shoot. Roger Jackson, Trump, and kayfabe. And you get access to champagne rooms past and present and movie night access. For as little as $3 a month or $30 for the year, you get the satisfaction that your small donation goes a long way keeping TIR on the air. And following this show tonight, I will be going into the champagne room where we're going to have a movie night. So it will be a good time. Main show and post show. Now, let's talk about the PMC. Upon winning the Democratic primary in the New York mayoral race, Zohran Mamdani won over large swaths of the city, but lost support among the poor, working class, and black voters. It was evident that his campaign resonated more with the gentrifying class of New York, better known as the PMC, or professional managerial class, and the college educated. The term PMC first appeared about 48 years ago in Barbara and John Ehrenreich's 1977 essay, The Professional Managerial Class, published in Radical America magazine. This essay's goal was to highlight how much the left had become divorced from the working class. The Ehrenreichs defined the PMC as a distinct social class of college-educated professionals, separate from both the traditional working class and the old middle class of small business owners. Many have argued that this definition is too nebulous since too many categories of workers could be lumped into it. Workers, the Ehrenreichs, may not have intended to include, such as elementary school teachers, nurses, doctors, or lawyers. So who do we really mean when we say the PMC? In a recent interview in Jacobin magazine, our guest today, Vivek Chibber, explained what exactly the term captures. Quote, what they're trying to talk about is salaried mental workers, people who engage in some kind of intellectual labor, whose function is not to reproduce capitalism, but whose function is to manage the extraction of labor or to aid and abet in the extraction of labor in the sense that managers do. If we're looking at it from that standpoint, then we see what they're actually trying to discuss are the layers that have emerged within the occupational structure that are not workers, but they are employed the way workers are. Nevertheless, whereas workers are exploited, these strata are more in the job of managing the workers and facilitating their exploitation. So they're people who are hired by capital, like workers are, but who serve the interests of capital. That's what they're trying to convey, unquote. Wherever you are watching or listening to the show, also, there's a link in the description to that interview. To have this discussion with me is my homie, my dog, my co-host, the man of the Mount Hour. He's the Prince of Miami. He is the Pascal Robert.
Peace and greetings to the chat. Peace and greetings to the audience. Peace and greetings, Jason Miles.
Are you ready for the show tonight? I'll take that as a yes.
Yes, sir.
Also, actually coming live from New York. She never left, unlike Pascal. Please welcome the voice of reason on this show, M. Toussaint.
Hello. Why or why would I ever leave? I just want to say I want to ask the first question.
You
I
said
just
it
want
in the framage, man. You just wanted
Okay,
to
you didn't confirm. You didn't confirm.
nudging? It's nudge.
I like your last
Nudge.
t-shirt better. Shut up.
Wow. Okay. Well, he is a professor at New York University, Jacobin columnist. Please welcome Vivek Chibber.
Thanks for having me, guys. You're a trip.
Toussaint, you want to ask? You wanted to ask the first question.
I
Ask
did.
away.
Welcome, Reverend Dr. Chibber.
Okay, I'm a regular now. I'll
Got
take
to
it.
bump up the title a little bit,
All right.
Show some respect.
Your Majesty will do.
Okay. You are the king of Catalyst.
Okay, that's right.
That's what we should have introduced him as, the King of Catalyst. That would have been.
King of Catalyst.
Okay.
I just wanted to know what are your pronouns and your ethnic background?
I guess this is a serious question. I'm a he, and my ethnic background is I was born and spent my first 15 years in India.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
What part?
Delhi.
Like you knew.
I got some friends there. I got some friends at the Delhi. Maybe not Delhi, but the Delhi. Okay. Just want to get that out the way. I know how much you love wokeness. So
Yeah, well, first time I've been asked my pronoun, and thank you very much. I guess that particular barrier is broken now.
Last time she asked Christian Parenti, or no, she stopped for Christian Parenti to have a landlord acknowledgement last time.
Yeah, I would have had to walk out. I draw the line at land acknowledgements. I would have said wrong Indian.
You never had a landlord acknowledgement?
I wanted to say,
Yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say I saw your interview with Adam Conover recently, where you talked about identity politics from the left and the difference between the liberal or neoliberal identity politics and wokeness. And I enjoyed your disdain for wokeness, and I really love the clarity of your explanation. So I hope you can do it again tonight.
Yeah, I'll try too. I'm usually good for clarity once a month, so let's give it a shot.
I hope you didn't hit your clarity core.
Yeah, I recorded our Jacobin podcast earlier today, so I might be done with the clarity. So we'll try.
Well, first off, should we define who we're talking about when we say the PMC?
Yeah. Jason, the quote of mine that you read it wasn't so much that this is what the PMC is, it's that this is what they thought it was, they being the Ehrenreichs.
Mm-hmm.
So what that quote conveyed, which is that it's people hired by capitalists to help in the extraction of work from their workers, that really describes managers.
Mm-hmm.
So what my view is, what the Ehrenreichs did was they kind of they projected what managers do onto also the stratum of what's called the professionals. Now, some of that is fine because managers are also professionals. Managers are people with degrees who enter this thing as a profession, who get paid a salary. So certainly a lot of professionals are in the job of managing workers. But the point is there's big chunk or significant chunk of what we call the professionals who are not in the position of managers. They are themselves also workers. So let's just step back a bit and define what this is, this PMC. What it refers to is two what we would call strata within the middle class. Now, a stratum is different from a class. A class is defined by its relationship to the means of production, whether it works for a living or whether it has other people working for it for a living. Mm-hmm. Within those two classes, there's different strata of people. Some richer workers and poorer workers. Within the capitalist class, there's big capitalists, small capitalists. These are strata. Mm-hmm. So the PMC refers to two strata within the middle class. Now, what do they have in common? What they basically have in common is that they all are more educated than typically workers are, and that they are paid in the form of a salary, a fixed amount of money, rather than an hourly wage, which varies depending on how long you work. And that they tend to have higher skill levels than a lot of non-professional people. That managers have and professionals also have. That's what they have in common. Mm-hmm. but they don't themselves constitute a class. In the way socialists and Marxists think about classes, what makes you a class is not how much money you earn or even what your education and skill levels is. It's how you go about earning your money. So it's not how much money you earn, it's how you earn your money. Mm-hmm. And the thing about professionals is some of them earn their money by managing workers. Some of them earn their money by being what we would call independent operators. Like a doctor can have his own practice. A lawyer can have his own practice. He's neither hiring anybody, nor is he hired by anybody. That's an independent operator, an owner operator. But professionals can also be workers. They can also be credentialed, highly educated workers. Like, for example, the examples I gave in the podcast were nurses and teachers. Mm-hmm. So being a professional doesn't automatically put you in a class. A professional can be somebody who's very well educated, but hiring in labor or managing labor, like a lot of CEOs and upper level managers are. A professional can be somebody who's an independent operator. And the professional could be somebody who's a highly skilled worker. So when we mention professionals, mostly they're middle class, but they don't have to be. Managers, on the other hand, are fundamentally, primarily in the business of aiding and abetting in exploitation. Uh-huh. So you might say it's a bit of a mistake to put them together. There's a significant overlap of managers and professionals into the middle class, but then professionals also shade into the working class. Managers don't really. Very few managers are in the working class.
Vivek, I have a question for you. How would you distinguish between PMC, the classical term, and the old line notion of petite bourgeoisie, the most Marxist? How will we make that distinction?
That's a good question, Pascal. The way to think about today's middle class is it brings together, it is what we call the old petty bourgeoisie and the new petty bourgeoisie. That's the way to think about it. The old petty bourgeoisie is basically shopkeepers, owner-operators. Shopkeepers, an owner-operator means you own your own means of production. That's kind of like what a capitalist is. He owns the means of production. But unlike capitalists, petty bourgeois work their own means of production. So even though you own the means of production, you don't hire in labor. You do the labor yourself. So independent farmers, that is to say small farmers, middle peasants in the third world, shopkeepers, artisans of various kinds. If you're a carpenter or you're a janitor who runs his own business, you're an old petty bourgeois. Mm-hmm. The new middle class, the new petty bourgeoisie, is people who are credentialed and work for salaries. And what they have in common with the old petty bourgeoisie is just exactly what made the old petty bourgeoisie different. The new salary classes have some properties of workers and some properties of capital or the middle class, but they don't have both. So like if you're, say, a manager, you're hired to work. That's just like a worker. But you're not a worker because your employment, your job is you manage other workers. So you have some properties of capital, like you're managing workers, that's what capital does. But you don't own the means of production. You work for a salary. So what all middle class, whether old or new, have in common is that they have some characteristics of capital, some characteristics of labor, but not both.
Well, do you think that deferring to PMC is a poor digression from the traditional petit bourgeois definition, and we better off for us to stick to the traditional kind of Marxoid definitions?
I mean, like I said, the petty bourgeoisie isn't itself a class. It's strata within a class. So I would just say old petty bourgeois and these new middle class people, they're all middle class in Marxian terms. So, it's just words, Pascal. We use the term PMC because we have something in mind, but the conceptual content of it is the same as a middle class in the old sense. You're neither bourgeois nor proletarian. You're a little bit of both.
Then why is it that PMC breeds so much contempt by people on the left who try to make it seem like this nefarious actor that is this new concoction that is sucking the life out of socialism?
There is something that is unsavory about the PMC, and that's why it invites so much negativity. And what's unsavory about it is what the Ehrenreichs zeroed in on 50 some years ago. And even though I said that their deployment of the term, the way they defined it, was a bit problematic, their outrage at how these people act was entirely deserved, I think. And what drew their ire is what draws the ire of leftists today against the PMC, and that's this. They tend to trade in the rhetoric of radicalism. They tend to be their own self-image is of being radical, of being very left-wing, of being justice warriors, but the scope of issues that actually motivates them is very narrow, and that those issues tend to leave out the kinds of things that are of concern to working people, whether they're black or brown or white working people. So the PMC tends to have a kind of a radical chic, associated with it, but not very much substance. On top of that, they do express a kind of bourgeois disdain for working people, a kind of always thinking the worst, never wishing to try to get at why the working class might have certain attitudes or social mores which are not, ideal and not great, and therefore comes across as being radical in name but pretty snooty in practice. And I think that's why the Ehrenreichs were critical of them then, and I think that's why much of the socialist left today is critical of them now. They reduce radicalism to a narrow set of issues which are mostly interesting to upper class people, and they express a kind of disdain for everyday working people at the same time.
Well, what does it say about the contemporary left that a larger portion of its body is made up of PMC now than it was 48 years ago when the Ehrenreich wrote this article?
Well, I think we should start by saying it's not the left. I think what's happened is a rebranding where a wing of liberalism has rebranded itself as radical. And what people like myself and Adolph Reed and Touré Reed and Cedric Johnson and Catherine Liu have been saying is that what this leftism is actually a class ideology. It is the ideology of the well-off section of the middle class, and there's nothing radical about it. This is why they get loads and loads and loads of corporate funding. This is why what BLM moving into this kind of very narrow race politics got literally hundreds of millions of dollars of funding from all the foundations and the corporations. It's a rebranding of radicalism to align it with the worldview and the impulses of this professional class, and to align it with a kind of set of demands that don't pose any threat. Forget to capitalism. They don't even pose a threat to neoliberalism.
So is the PMC more of an obstacle for working class politics?
The way I would put it, Jason, is this. The PMC, let's put it in the old Marxist terms.
Sure.
There's no possibility of a successful social democratic or socialist movement without winning over significant chunks of the middle class. Because the working class in its entirety comprises about 55 to 60% of the population, maybe a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Well, you're not going to get all of the working class over to a socialist or a social democratic movement. You never have. Mm-hmm. That means to have a real mass movement, you're going to have to go beyond the working class to have it be a mass movement, which means you're going to have to go into the sections of the middle class and win them over. If you see them just as an obstacle, you're not going to get very far. So I would not say they're an obstacle. What I would say is this, that they are not the place to go to start things. They are not the people to rely on to shape the movement. Again, to use old language, it's a question of who has hegemony inside the movement. Mm-hmm. Do working class people, black, brown, and white, do the blue collar and waged working class people shape the content and the strategies of the labor movement? Or are you going to let college educated so-called workers shape it? And if you let the college educated shape it, the professionals, it's going to not only be quite narrow because of the cultural baggage and the attitudes that they bring. You're going to repel a lot of working people.
Is that what we're seeing now, in your opinion?
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what we're seeing. What we're seeing is this kind of radicalism is anathema to most anyone with a brain in their head, especially working people.
So how would you explain a phenomenon like DSA in terms of the fact that it's profoundly made up of college-educated youth and professors, and the fact that it seems to be the birthing place for most of the young socialist-esque politicians that are coming forth today?
I would say this: the DSA has some socialists in it, but it is not a socialist organization.
Whoa! Can we quote you on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not controversial. It's the DSA's program has elements of socialism, but then it also has elements of very narrow and very backward identity politics, which express these radical chic inclinations of the professional classes, which no working person is ever going to come to. So my view is it's very unlikely that the DSA, as presently constituted, will ever be a socialist organization. If something, it might become the ground from which a socialist organization emerges at some point. But if it is going to become a socialist organization, it's going to lose a lot of its members.
Well, are they part of the look? Does DSA and the PMC shape a lot of left discourse, especially in media and academia and in nonprofits?
The DSA does not. I would say the DSA is itself shaped by the nonprofits and by academia. The DSA is too small, too scattered, and most of the people in it, they just kind of moonlight. They come around once a week or something to go to a meeting and discuss things with other people. It's active branches are very few, and the branches that have to do any kind of mass work are no more than a handful. Mm-hmm. So where does it get its ideology? It's not coming through daily engagement with the lives of working people. Like in New York, that's happening because the New York DSA canvasses in working class neighborhoods to try to get the vote out. But most of the DSA is just glorified study groups. And so their experience in politics is close to zero. So that means that the views that they express and the priorities that they express reflect not the interest and the attitudes of the workers who they're coming into contact with, because they're not coming into contact with workers. It expresses their own instinctively class ideology. And, that's mostly going to be that of the PMC. And they get their rhetoric out of their college seminars on, intersectionality, or a lot of them are people who work in the nonprofit sector. And so they get a lot of the ultra leftism and the cosplay leftism that comes out of the nonprofit sector. So it's not that they set the left discourse in the US, it's that they're a symptom of the left discourse in the US.
Tucson, did you want to add something?
I have a question. I want to talk about myself. So in the lore of this show, my backstory is that I am a manager at Ross, the clothing store. It's a Ross / Church's Chicken. But I feel like I'm just the manager of one. I don't manage other people. I manage myself. I'm a department of one. Yeah. But also I have the guillotine poster from Jacobin in my apartment. Does that make me PMC?
I'll answer it seriously, actually, because it's an important question. Mm-hmm. When we talk about these categories and the people in the categories, we're really talking about large aggregates, about generalities. Mm-hmm. What tends to happen when people work in these occupations and you kind of are looking at them as a general group. Mm-hmm. If you come down to individual biographies, there's more and more and more possibility that you're dealing with people who are unusual. So to give you a very extreme example, we say that, look, capitalists are not ever going to come to the left. They have it in their interest to exploit labor, right? And that's a pretty sound generalization. But the founder of Marxism, there were two founders of Marxism. One of them was a capitalist. And that's Frederick Engels. He literally owned factories, employed workers. Now, how did he come to the left? Well, he was a weird dude. He's just strange. He was willing to go out of business if he had to, but he said, okay, I'll run the businesses as best I can, and I'll use the money to fund my partner Marx, who can't hold on to a job. So when you like with Toussaint, when you come down to individuals, you might just be weird, Toussaint. And like me, I criticize professors all the time as being such a plague. All right, I'm a professor. What are we going to do with that? I'm just weird. I'm somebody who's actually using tenure for what it's supposed to be, which is you get your job security, then you try to do the right thing. Most choose not to. So it's never a good idea to point to any particular individual and say, this individual goes against your generalization, because there's no generalization that's ever applied to every single individual on Earth. What you need to look at is the generalization generally true, or is it not? Now, to answer your other part of your question, Toussaint, what does it mean to be a manager of one? I'll tell you, a lot of what's called managers in the American labor force are not really managers. Mm-hmm. They're called managers so they aren't allowed to be in unions, or they aren't allowed to get job protections that unions get. So there is a certain section of what we call the managerial class, the very lowest, the very, very lowest, which are essentially workers who've been redefined as managers so that they don't get union benefits. And, how do you know when it's fake? Well, you look at the work they're doing. How much authority do they actually have in the workplace? Who are they actually managing? Are they being managed by other people? And when you find that they're not really doing much managing, they actually do a lot of the work, and they're actually answerable to a boss, it's possible, but not necessary, but possible, that you're talking about basically workers being given some supervisory responsibilities and then being called managers, but they're not really managers.
That makes a lot of sense when I look at my paycheck.
Listen carefully. Everything I say makes sense if you listen.
I was told that the PMC are the people who deal with the money for the business. Like, that's one way you can know them. They handle accounts and checks and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the accountants are professionals, right? So they're going to be. But look, accountants can have shit jobs and basically be workers. The basic point I'm trying to make you guys is this: an occupation is not a class. The same occupation can be deployed in a different class way. You can be a janitor who owns his own business. You're middle class. You can be a janitor who works for a janitorial firm and be a worker. And you can be a janitor like, who was that guy? Joe the plumber. There was a Joe the plumber.
Yeah, the Obama days. Yeah,
he owned a plumbing agency, man. He owned a firm. He was a capitalist. So being a plumber or an accountant or something itself doesn't tell you the whole story. You've got to see how they earn their living.
Does the PMC dominate cultural production in ways that distance the left from the working class concerns?
Well, the PMC absolutely dominates cultural production, period, right? Because who makes the TV shows? Who are the writers? Who are the producers? Of course, they dominate the production in the same way that skilled workers will dominate the production of certain very high-end goods. But of course, the culture industry is owned by capital. So the PMC is mostly employed by capital in the culture industry. Do they do it what was your exact wording of your question, Jason?
In ways that distance the left from working class concerns. Do they dominate cultural production in ways that distance the left from?
Well, I would say they dominate cultural production. They dominate left discourse in a way that repels the working class. The reason I'm hesitating to answer your question the way you posed is this: they definitely dominate cultural production, but a lot of cultural production is stuff that workers love. Hollywood movies, TV shows, right? It's the art house crap that workers want. I don't go to it either. I mean, who watches that? A lot of that stuff is just self-indulgent crap that, failed art film school graduates are putting out. And I never watch it.
I'm seeing a lot of people in New York DSA crying right now. What did you say?
That's another show you actually do sometimes. What happened to what's called art house cinema? It's such self-indulgent, meaningless twaddle these days. You have to have gone through 6 years of boot camp to actually sit through one of those films now. So that stuff it repels a lot of workers. But most of the stuff that workers go to and enjoy, whether it's at home or in cinema, it's made by the PMC for sure.
But I guess I'm asking, a few years back, every black person was going to the movie theater in a dashiki and crying because of Wakanda. And that was supposed to be this moment where we had arrived. It always felt to me that there was a certain stratum of black people or a class of black people that really enjoyed that and that wanted to cosplay and appreciate this version of Africa that was supposed to be technologically advanced, yet still fought on the backs of animals.
Oh, well, don't forget that it's a monarchy.
Yeah, it was a monarchy.
Why do you hate on Wakanda?
All right, fine.
I'm not a big Wakanda fan.
Yeah, your basic point is right. It was a very PMC packaged version of black nationalism. Several orders of magnitude worse than what you saw. The stuff you saw like in the blaxploitation films and the era of Black Power, it was crude, but it had its moments. It was cute. But this stuff was so ultra. It was like you're hating on Wakanda. What about Crazy Rich Asians? It was the same. It's this fantasy of rich Asians and blacks in the case of Wakanda, that if we rule the world, here's how it would be. We'd be wearing our traditional garb because that makes us authentically ethnic. Mm-hmm. But we'd actually be kings and queens, yo. And on top of that, we would bring in a white character and call him colonial master, colonizer all the time, just to remind him that it's our time now.
You know, you're shitting all over my kids. I just want you to know that.
And
because they're Asian and black.
On top of all that, you got the black savior who's got superpowers.
My kids are Asian and black, and they really appreciated that moment where they had Crazy Rich Asians and Wakanda.
I shit on both ends of that.
Yeah, you just now they have nothing to be proud of. Well, how do you feel about that wording? Is this very PMC wording then? It's always based in representation, and I still see it to this day when I watch interviews with certain actors.
What wording?
It's all, or this phrase, I finally saw myself on screen.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? Nobody's embarrassed about saying I am a narcissist. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. It's better to have a world in which you have a very diverse range of characters on the media. It is better. I don't know your guys' age. I was here in the 80s. I'll tell you a story. Not only did you never see any South Asians on TV, I just come to this country and I was watching one of these B movies on TV, and it's a couple of dudes who were stuck in like Wyoming, and they're driving across Wyoming, and they stop at a gas station. And the gas station attendant comes and speaks to them in some weird language. And one guy says to the other, you know, you've been around a lot. Who was that? What did he say? And the guy said, yeah, I've been all around the world, but I've never heard that language before. And the language was Hindi, spoken by 800 million people. Right? Something that's about 3 times the size of the United States back then. Mm-hmm. But it's so exotic in 1980 America that you can actually pretend like it's some lost tribe from Borneo that the language belongs to. So no doubt this world is better than that one. Mm-hmm. And it's cool to be able to see that kind of diversity and representation. But you got to be perspective.
I'm sorry.
That you're so happy to see yourself on the screen that if it's a black bourgeois with the worst morality, or an Asian who thinks flying first class to Singapore to get married is the pinnacle of society, yeah, you're representing somebody, but who exactly?
What does that say when there's this moment where this kind of liberal representation is all over the cultural reproduction, especially movies and television? We have girls, we have black stormtroopers, we have Wakanda, but we also, in 2016, we get Trump. What does that say about these cultural wins?
Well, you know, Jason, there are wins of a certain kind, and I think we all know this. It's very good and important to have black and brown people on the screen, but don't do it in a way that says it's our time now. Do it in a way that says we're part of your society. We're all in the same society, and we all have the same needs. It's the character should be somebody who happens to be black, but the blackness, if it defines the character, and the blackness is presented in a way that's constantly poking fun at other ethnicities or denigrating them or using them as props, you're not going to get the reaction you want. So what it says is that race discourse, cultural discourse, has been captured by the elites from these populations, and they feel absolutely no pressure to make their case in a way that's appealing beyond their class colleagues. Mm-hmm. That's what it says. When you take Black workers, Latino workers, and Asian workers out of the political scene, when you therefore also take them out of the cultural discourse, it becomes multicultural as hell, but it represents the multicultural ruling classes rather than the multicultural masses. That is where we are today. And that's going to give you Trump every time. It's going to give you Trump.
Do you think that accounts for why we're seeing such a blowback to things like diversity, equity, and inclusion?
That's part of it. The other part of it is that I think, look, there are two things you got to keep in mind. DEI was launched at a time of very, very high levels of inequality when people feel that the good jobs are very few and hard to get. And DEI was overwhelmingly practiced in managerial and professional spaces. So the struggle for those jobs is intense on any time, any day of the week, at any time. But when you give a leg up to women or minorities, and in a way that makes it feel like they're just getting a cut in front of the line, you're going to get a reaction. You may not like it, and some of it will be racist, but that's going to be the reaction. And this is why MLK and Rustin and all those folks were, at best, ambivalent about positive discrimination. They were worried that this would create a backlash. And it's too easy to say that the backlash is just because of racism. It is a fact that jobs are hard to get, people feel insecure, and the real solution to racial injustice is to create jobs for everyone, so that it's not just Black and brown elites who are getting them, but Black workers, white workers, so it doesn't feel like in a mad scramble for jobs, some people are getting special benefits. That's just going to happen.
Toussaint, did you want to add something to that? Double Dutch champion?
I think that's interesting. I remember I was watching another podcast and Adolph Reed was the guest. I was chatting with someone in the chat and he's like, I'm going to send a super chat. I really want an answer to this. And the question that he asked Adolph Reed is, why don't Jay-Z and Beyonce give money to poor Black people? And Adolph's answer was, they don't want to.
was he mad about the answer? Because
he was furious. He's like, this guy is trash. I don't have time for his
answer. Well, here's my question. Why do you expect Jay-Z and Beyonce to be different from any other billionaires?
It's a better answer. Exactly. Why do we expect them to be?
Look, you want to respect Black agencies. You want to respect Black agency? Assume that they're just like everyone else. Mm-hmm. When they make money, they're going to be as self-absorbed with that money as white people. Is there anything in human history that says otherwise? Name one single population anywhere in the history of the world where the richer elements of oppressed communities turned around and said to their brethren, here, take it all. Name one instance. It doesn't exist. This is just a myth. And I don't know why, again, people who call themselves leftists would ever think otherwise.
It's a fallacy of racial kinship politics that plays Black politics to this day.
That's exactly right.
That Black people are unified in this kind of collective front against the white man, the evil white man, when in reality we have class bifurcation just like any other ethnic group.
If you just spent 3 days reading the history of independent Africa or of American Black history in America, you see the good news is Black Americans are like everyone else. The bad news is this myth of Black exceptionalism is just garbage.
Well, Pascal's never getting invited to the Black parties anymore.
Martha's Vineyard.
You just kicked yourself out of the fraternity there, Pascal.
I got a permanent pass, buddy.
You got a permanent? Is that why you joined the fraternity? You were like, So no matter what I say. But you have to bow to Spike Lee's image before you can go to those parties.
Yeah, that's the patron saint of the ideology, Spike Lee.
Spike Lee is
somebody. I once said to Toure Reed once, I will do anything for you if you just write an essay on the depiction of working class Black people in Spike Lee's movies. And it is consistent across the board.
That's a very good analysis. That's one I've always challenged his depiction of women because it's horrendous. But I've never thought about his because he does have a horrific depiction of working class people.
The ghetto is a domain of pimps, hustlers, and losers.
Yes.
Remember, He Got Game. What happens in He Got Game? The ghetto is what's trying to drag him back, not let him escape. And the hero story is he finally uses his talents to escape the ghetto. It's not a place where people live, where they love, where they're trying to make a living, where they try to do the best for their kids and their loved ones.
He's not from there. Like I've had this similar conversation with Toure, and I actually made a video essay about Black cinema, and towards the end of it, it does talk about Spike Lee, because I think the rise of Spike Lee is the end of a certain kind of quote unquote Black cinema, right?
Exactly right.
I said, and maybe I don't know which one of us said it first. It might even have been Toussaint that said it. Was Spike Lee's ascension is the end of the super nigga. Like that dude is over when Spike Lee comes on the scene. And one of the things that he suffers after he does what's the movie I don't understand where he throws what's the movie, Toussaint, where New York is all colorful?
Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing. There it is.
Yeah.
Colorful ass New York. He gets criticized because he's not depicting the hood. And so then you get this Sam Jackson character shoehorned into Jungle Fever that is a crackhead that is literally singing and dancing for crack.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Spike Lee fan. I think he's gotten better as he's just stopped trying to make these.
I think Spike Lee should stick to making crime thrillers and army.
Yeah.
Those are good because he's a skilled technician.
Yeah.
But his worldview is toxic. His worldview is a pure class worldview. We might be going off the rails here, but I don't know if you saw Black Klansman.
No, I never watched it.
It's virtually impossible to sit through.
So
we're in that era, and where not only is that the typical movie about race, but it's celebrated as the fine wine of racial politics and racial representation. That's where we are.
Like, what did you think of? And I hate to get all in your thing about movies, but
my favorite subject.
I loved the book Erasure by Percival Everett. It blew my mind. I made to read. I was like, Tori, you got to read this book. You got to read this. Like, it's the best book, fiction book on class. Da, 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 da. And I was like, and Tori, get it. In the book, he rewrites Native Son with all Black people. Like, I'm tripping out reading this book, right?
Yeah.
I watched the movie.
I haven't seen Erasure.
Or American Fiction is what it's called.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, American Fiction is based off Erasure.
Okay.
And when you read the book, it is such a poignant telling of Black class. I watched the movie, didn't really hit me like the book because there's these redemption arcs that don't exist in real life, and white characters, because it's a meta story, are actually Black people in real life.
Yeah.
That to me becomes kind of the end of this run on quote unquote Black cinema that we got to see during the George Floyd moment, where, you know, you turn on Netflix and it was like, well, here's some Negro movies so people stop burning shit down.
And it's not just that; it's movies that tell you how awful white culture and white people is, and that there's no redemption for it. It was born racist; it'll always be racist, and that's contrasted to the angelic, morally uplifting, pure of heart Black characters it's not a surprise that the culture finds it revolting. And they start that when they think of race, okay, if this is anti-racism, then I don't want to have anything to do with it. So it was, the way I think of it, Jason, is that the Shonda Rhimes of the world, the black PMC, they became drunk with power. And all of their, not just their resentments against white culture, but their hatred of the black working class just came out. The aggressive narrowing of race politics so that it's just about these narrow representational issues. And you don't want to hear about economic demands and economic goals. That's not just an anodyne blindness of the black bourgeoisie to the wider community. It's their hatred for the wider community. By wider, I mean the black community.
Mm-hmm.
And until you understand this, you cannot even begin to understand the obstacles to race justice in this country.
Tucson, did you want to add something in that?
I want to know who else you hate. Is Rihanna a good billionaire?
Is she a billionaire?
I'm with Mamdani, which is I don't know if there's such a thing as a good billionaire.
Mm-hmm. Take that, Taylor Swift.
Look, for black cultural artists, packaging blackness is just impossible to avoid. They're going to do it because it's what the corporate masters want out of them. So you're not going to get black cultural artists. There's very few. Like there's that guy, right? What's his name? The one who makes movies.
Carl Franklin.
No.
Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler.
No, not Ryan Coogler.
Jordan Peele?
Jordan Peele.
No, man.
Not Jordan Peele.
I forget the guy's name. There are a couple here and there, but they belong to the indie stream. The big names, they're not going to be people who worry about proletarian art or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they do, they make it about kind of the wages of sin that is white America, like Jordan Peele's redo of The Twilight Zone, which I actually was kind of excited to check out. And I don't know if you watched it. I didn't.
I did. I forced myself because he's the man of the moment, so I will force myself to watch this stuff. And he's like
Boots Riley. Somebody said,
That's it. Whoever said that, thank you, Boots Riley. That's right.
Yes. How can we forget Boots Riley?
He's made a couple of very good movies.
Yes.
But he's an outlier, man. This stuff is not gonna in these times today. The hold that the multicultural black, brown, and white elite has over culture, it's an iron grip. I don't know what you're gonna do about it.
What did you think of Judas and the Black Messiah?
Ooh.
Not as bad as I expected.
Really?
Yeah, because they did highlight Fred Hampton's Marxism. I thought they'd do a Baird Rustin on him, where all you saw was the gayness. I'm not saying Fred Hampton was gay. What I'm saying is you just get rid of the class politics. So I thought they just showed Fred Hampton as kind of a black power avatar, but they treated him with respect. So that I found good enough to sit through it, but I thought it'd be much worse.
It was supposed to be the humanizing of the snitch.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't find that problematic, censoring the...
Well, like I said, I had such low... So what I do is... I have a philosophy about any film, which is, please just don't make me hate it. I go to film to be... I want to be entertained. I want to like every movie I see because it's 2 hours of my life.
Yeah.
I want to come out happy. So I try... That's why I'll never forgive Spike Lee, because no matter how hard I try, I hate everything he does.
Wow.
But this one I was able to sit through.
Tucson, make sure you tweet this out to Spike Lee on Twitter.
We're not getting any of his crypto. He's not giving us any.
Inside Man was a great movie because it's just a bank heist. And it was really well done.
Yeah, he does non-race real well.
Yeah.
As I said, when he started doing movies outside, when he felt comfortable to not work within the race paradigm, it's pretty good. Was it 25th Hour? That was pretty good.
Yes, that was good too. Yep.
Yeah, that was a good movie. But
a long way from the PMC in this. I'm enjoying it.
Well,
subject.
You're on a different kind of show tonight.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm happy with that.
Pascal, you look like you want to say something.
No, I mean, I'm really glad that we got a chance to kind of crap on Black professional managerial cultural production. But one of the things that I want to say is that how exactly do we fight the gatekeeping by the PMC when it comes to the media thoroughfares and the narratives around things like the left? For example, people like Joanne Reed, Ta-Nehisi Coates, and others that were so crucial to torpedoing Bernie Sanders' 2016 run. How do we actually find ways to create the cultural capital to neutralize those kind of folks?
Well, in the present moment, with the present balance of forces and the media universe, in the media ecosystem, the only way to fight it is to have alternative sources like yours. The problem there, of course, is that it's just marginal compared to the audience that they have. So you do the best you can with that. You do the best. But the real solution to their hegemony is going to be an actual multiracial working class movement until we get, see, you have to remember all these cultural artists, at the end of the day, they just want to make money. So if they see that there's a real working class movement out there, people of color, black and brown people, is going to do two things. The Joy Reids of the world are going to temper their hatred for this section of multicultural America. But there's a second thing that's going to happen. These movements are going to throw up their own cultural artists. They're going to do it, their own intellectuals. And they're going to start producing things that catches the moment, that catches the wave, and which expresses the humanity, not just of people of color, but the common humanity that they have. You know what the best movie about race has been in the last 25 years? Free State of Jones.
It's a good movie.
We watched that.
What was that movie about? It was about runaway slaves fighting for their freedom, but lining up with what we would call poor white trash, right? Really poor farmers who are also on the receiving end of the South. And what you see in it is it doesn't for a second deny the reality of race dominance, of the brutality of slavery, but it shows that it's one within a spectrum of the brutalization that working people are facing in the United States. Now that's an outlier. If you get an actual upswing in social mass mobilizations of people of color in this country, which is not hegemonized by the PMC, you're going to see a lot more art like this, and it won't be confined to little shows like This Is Revolution. It's going to hit the big time.
But how do we do that in the era of kind of the decline of mass culture?
I don't know, man. I have no idea. You just keep doing what you do. You hope it catches.
I mean, I have no choice.
Guys, you do what you do.
But
if there was a secret sauce, I wouldn't be sitting here with you.
Right? Like, I don't know the way, because I don't know what's popular on a mass scale. Like Toussaint and I were talking earlier today about, and we've talked about this before even on the show, like hip hop. Let's just stay with black shit. Since you're so comfortable. There's so much hip hop that comes out, and I don't really know what really is popular. You can tell me what's got the most streams, but is that person actually selling tickets?
Yeah.
Right? Or who's wearing a tee? I walk out when I live in Mexico now, but when I go to the States, I still see people wearing Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg t-shirts. So, I don't see anybody wearing an NBA YoungBoy t-shirt. Maybe there's a bunch of them. Show me these people, because I don't think they exist.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be that with this new technology, there isn't a mass culture anymore, that it's all sliced and diced into these tiny little streams. And maybe what we can hope for is that each of those tiny little streams has a common denominator at some point, which humanizes working people, doesn't treat them as props or as obstacles, but shows their humanity, black or brown. I firmly believe that'll happen when the political grip of this class of cultural monopolists is broken, and that'll come about if there's a mass movement. Look, I'll leave you with this. It's a favorite trope of American commentators that the American working class is too racist. It'll never line up with blacks. You just had two massive strikes, waves of strikes in the last 5 years in the U.S. The teacher strikes and the UAW. What's the race composition of those workers?
It's all over.
It is heterogeneous as hell.
Yeah, it's all over.
Nobody commented on the fact that white and black comrades in the schools and in the auto factories lined up together and fought their bosses. And nobody noticed that there wasn't a peep. There was no news of racial animosity of the white workers treating the black colleagues badly because they don't want to hear it. The political commentariat does not want to hear this. That American culture is actually ahead of the commentariat right now.
But I mean, that's the thing that you're talking about real life. And whenever we see these cultural reproductions, it's like, well, let's have a vampire movie of black people in the South during Jim Crow.
Yeah, wait, let me see if I can get the symbolism of that. I'm not quite sure I got that. Explain it to me, Jason, using like a 5-year-old, because there's nothing like a movie that hits you over the head with its message.
Right. But it's so frustrating because, again, the guy that made it we're from the same area. We're from the Bay. We're literally from the same city in the Bay. Right. And the place where we're from had a massive teacher strike. Oakland had 2 massive teacher strike. The second one, they actually went on strike for concerns about the students and the environments in which they were living in.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a surprise at all.
But then the movies they reproduce become just this kind of old tale. Because I think because, like you said, it can get made.
Yeah.
Right. The evil of white men.
And don't minimize. This is the worldview of the people making them. Just don't minimize that. Don't excuse them. They can do a lot more with the resources they have. But this is something that appeals to them. It's not like the white overlords are forcing them to do it. This is their own. You want to respect black agency? This is what it looks like.
Fair enough. I mean, look, he made Wakanda, so he's got a pass to black hoods all over the world.
We put a lid on it. We closed that chapter. So let's
he can moonwalk all over Uganda if he wants to. Yeah. Pascal, do you want to say anything in closing?
No, I just want to say cultural black nationalism has a lot of purchase.
Yeah, it does. Some of it's harmless. Some of it can be fun. But listen, if it's packaged in a demeaning and denigrating way to other cultures, you will never, ever avoid the backlash.
Tucson, do you want to add something?
We need to have you back on and talk about black stuff.
Yeah, I know, because I don't have enough enemies in the world. Yeah, sure. No, I'd love to.
We had all these PMC questions for you. You just opened.
I know we got talking about movies, and once I start, I can't stop.
Oh, we got to bring them on for a movie show.
We need to talk about Zoran. So maybe closer to Election Day.
I mean, I think he's going to win, and I do think he's going to get a lot of the working class vote. And I'll just leave you with this: it doesn't matter if he doesn't, because the fact if he doesn't get a lot of the black working class vote, it's not an indictment of him. It means that they have, for their own reasons, they're skeptical. And once he starts passing his legislation, he's going to win them over. I wouldn't worry about who votes for him.
Got it. Is there anything you want to plug on your way out?
That we have this podcast that we do every other Wednesday. It's called Confronting Capitalism. Mm-hmm. And I would invite people to check it out. That we take up all these issues in that podcast.
It's on Catalyst.
Yeah, it's and of course Catalyst, which is the journal that I edit, which seeks to be a journal that takes up questions of theory and strategy for today's left.
Are you going to have me on because I feel like Jacobin has a paper bag test for their black people?
Oh,
Jason, I will have you on if you promise that it'll be a whole episode deepening our discussion of the PMC and movies.
You say no more. Say no more. I'll send you articles that I write for Damage where I always have to title it after a movie or an album. So yeah.
Let's each come with a list of 3 directors we hate.
It's very easy for me. It's very easy.
It'll be the same list.
Yeah.
Spike Lee.
I smell a buddy cop movie. Do you, Tucson?
Yeah. We should next time we should talk about movies about race that actually hit it out of the park, and there are a few in the last 10 years that I think did. We can talk about that too.
Nice.
Oh, definitely. The best one I've seen is the one Pascal turned me on to years ago. Spook Who Sat by the Front Door.
I haven't seen that.
You ever see the Spook Who Sat by the Door? Oh,
put that number 1 on your list.
Not if it's low budget. Is it low budget?
It's a blaxploitation movie from the early 70s.
No, it holds up. It holds
Does
up.
it have background hiss the way those 70s?
No, no one's gonna say
background hiss.
No one's gonna be like, "Hey, jive turkey!" Like that's not.
All right. Yeah. Okay. That I can live with that.
Well, thank you very much, and have a good rest of your night.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
That was great. That was Vivek Chibber.
The Chib.
That was fun.
Reverend Dr. Chibber.
Chips.
He's about to get so much heat from all 8 of his black students.
He was so based. That was such a good conversation.
All 8 of them black students finna be real mad.
He didn't trash Rihanna. That was cool.
That Jay-Z thing was pretty funny. Jay-Z, why don't you give money to the black community? Don't want to.
No.
What do you mean you don't want to?
I think what really infuriated that guy with his super chat was that Adolph Reed did not elaborate. It was just like they don't want to. Next question.
What was I supposed to say? Inside of every black man is a hoarding white man.
It's St. Francis of Assisi. He gives all his money away.
Every black man is a Russian doll, and you open it, and it's a Latino, and then you open that, and eventually you get to the core of him, and he's a greedy Jewish landlord.
Oh, at the core is a peanut. We know this. It's George Washington Carver and a peanut.
What's inside of Kanye?
Cotton. I don't know. Raccoon fur.
he's not even real.
Coon fur. Coon fur.
Damn. That's pretty mean.
No.
You calling them Kanye? Is that what you tried to say?
Yay.
Damn.
Hey, don't forget, he's the one who made that song. N-word, Heil Hitler.
Didn't he say he's sorry about it now?
I don't think he's sorry about it. No.
No.
I thought he apologized for it.
I don't think he apologized.
To check all that before we go, get Tucson. Would it be too much to ask for you to check to see if that's real?
He needs to apologize to his wife.
Who's his wife? Is he married to that woman that he always makes wear?
The naked woman? Yes.
Yes, I didn't want to say it.
She's in prison.
She's in prison. Are you making that up? Or prison of Kanye?
I mean, doesn't she look abused to you? What am I looking up? Did Kanye apologize for what now?
Heil Hitler.
Song.
Someone says his interview with Pierce Morgan was great. Can you imagine Pierce Morgan's face when he got that in the weekly meeting that he was going to be interviewing Kanye?
His best friend, Nick Fuentes.
Is he still friends with Nick Fuentes, Kanye?
They're homies.
I feel like Kanye runs through friends. Like, you're not going to get a Christmas card every year from Kanye West.
There's a lot here. So while Kanye West did issue an apology in late 2023 for his anti-Semitic comments, he has since released a song, I'm sorry for the sirens.
No, you're not.
Glorifying Hitler and retracted his apology.
You are so in the hood right now.
I kind of am. I'm glad I was able to mute it while Reverend Dr. Chibbs was here.
There's so many sounds of the city.
They call me Dr. Chibbs.
They call me Mr. Chibbs.
Yeah, I love it. It says the latest thing here, it says August 2025, a Los Angeles judge ordered Ye to pay nearly $100,000 in attorney's fees to a former assistant suing him for anti-Semitism and harassment.
They call it anti-Semitism.
He hasn't exactly apologized. And in February, he said, I'm never apologizing for my Jewish comments. And proposed his love for Hitler, stating, I am a Nazi. That was February.
So he just says stuff. Or do you believe that he believes this?
I believe he doesn't like Jewish people.
You think so?
Yeah.
I
Like
feel like he's
Michael
got a Jewish
Jackson?
manager. I feel very confident that there's a Jewish person telling him to show up to somewhere. No? You don't think so?
I believe he buys into Jewish conspiracy theories.
Yes. He's read the protocols of the Elder Society. Like,
He's got a serious case of Jews on the brain, bro.
look at this new book. It was just written.
I was walking down the street the other day. This man dressed like African Bambaataa just gave me a whole bunch of knowledge. Did you know that we were the original Hebrews?
No. Did you know that the earth was flat? I should also add, it says here in May 2025, after releasing that song, Kanye posted on X, "I am done with anti-Semitism," and released a new version of the song called the Heil Hitler song called Hallelujah, replacing Nazi references with Christian lyrics.
So isn't that the apology? Isn't he sorry for being such a douche nozzle?
Maybe. I feel like he does a lot of this as like promotion for his projects.
I agree with you.
A lot of it is not sincere.
He's up there with one of the best kayfabers that we've ever seen in music.
Absolutely.
Who has stayed relevant in hip hop this long? He's still relevant.
They call it Kanye Fabe.
He's kind of got his own lane of ridiculousness. I don't think that HH song, I don't want to say it again,
Right.
was on Spotify. I think he could only have it on certain places because it got banned before it even went up. So, then he did the Super Bowl ad where he was selling the swastika shirt, which was just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Don't let anybody get a commercial on that.
Jews on the brain.
But is it because people react? Like, he only moves when people react.
I think people are reacting less. Ben continues to seem undisturbed.
He's pretty much banned from the public consciousness.
Ben is still playing Graduation.
I don't think Ben plays any Kanye, and that's fine. You don't have to feel that in my soul. But he just makes news. We're in an interesting timeline because everyone's trying to find something to talk about. And Kanye and Donald Trump constantly give you something to talk about. When there's nothing going on, they're like, "Oh, I'll say some stupid shit. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Because you'll talk about me, and I don't care. I don't care if I'm the villain in it. I don't care if I'm the hero in it. You're going to talk about me.
Well, in the past, I'll say that I have heard that Angelina Jolie did her own PR. Also, Erykah Badu. And I've heard about Erykah Badu. Every so often, she would just put out a rumor about herself. Like, hey, if you have sex with her, she'll change your whole aesthetic and your life. And you'll start dressing like Andre 3000.
That was true. Because remember Kanye had that Electric Circus record when he was messing with her? And he was wearing them yarn hats.
Kanye?
I said, did I say Kanye? I meant Common. I said Common.
Oh, Common, yes.
Another Chicago Negro.
Well, she played it up, and apparently Angelina Jolie she came up with the blood vial that she would wear around her neck and the stuff with the brother just to like keep her name out there. And I feel like that's what Kanye and Trump do. And in some sense, they've actually perfected it. It's harder for me.
Those people perfected it. I don't know anyone else who can do it like those people can do it. Pascal.
Man.
I feel like Drake is trying to do it.
You can't do it like those people. He actually had a legitimate career for a very long time.
Yes.
Kanye West just said crazy shit from George Bush doesn't like black people on. It was like you never knew what you were going to get with that guy.
It's interesting. Apparently Drake has released in the past few weeks or months 38 songs.
Oh, wow.
He's trying to see what sticks, and most things are not sticking. Apparently, 1 out of 38 is sticking. He's doing the Iceman rollout of his new album and fighting with his record company and having lawsuits and stuff and trying to figure out how to get his footing again. But he doesn't quite know. It's not the landscape.
Kendrick Lamar iced him.
It's not the landscape he knew before.
I mean, I agree with that, Pascal.
Kendrick Lamar iced him.
But he's still Drake. He has classic songs like
Best I Ever Had.
Booty, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Booty,
booty, booty, booty. You must mean Houston and Vegas.
Well, look, we're about to go, or I'm about to go and watch a movie with you guys starring a black guy.
I'm going to watch it. He's a now disgraced, trying to be rehabilitated black guy.
He is rehabilitated through this movie, through Magazine Dreams was the movie that kind of rehabilitated him, because a lot of that cancellation didn't really do much.
Who's the actor?
Jonathan Majors.
I thought it was Megan.
Woman. Remember he told that white woman, would Michelle Obama do that?
Would Coretta Scott King do that?
Would Coretta Scott King do that?
But Megan Good rehabilitated him. And a bunch of other black ladies who said that he was nice.
Megan Good was married to a good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Was she good?
I know.
Megan Good friend of mine.
He's a very nice man, and I was like, she must have been a real headache.
Oh, well, some of you dudes seem to like a headache every now and then. The men's like to have a handful sometimes.
When you're between the ages of like 18 to 37, you think you can handle a hot Cheeto person, and then after that, you're like, I'm
37.
fine. 37.
You're a little late then, Jason.
What do you mean?
There's no. You're flipping tortas out here. Come on.
You're flipping tortas. Fly tortas. Fly tortas. Fly tortas. Fly tortas. Fly tortas, baby. Fly tortas, lady. Fly tortas, baby. Fly tortas, lady. Fly tortas. Fly tortas.
Yeah.
No, my brother.
Because I'm. I can't do it. I can't do it. I've tried. Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
I need a, like they say on the balloon pop shows, I'm looking for a God-fearing woman who's God first.
Whose shoes you like?
No corns on the toes.
My dream is to go on a balloon pop show, and as soon as before I even get on camera, you just hear like pop, 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 pop.
Sound like a drive-by. Jason's here.
I want to leave you guys with this. There was the most beautiful Haitian woman on one of these balloon pop shows. Did you see it, Pascal? I shared it on social media. Did you see it?
No.
Beautiful Haitian woman. Very, very dark. She was wearing an all-white dress. She was gorgeous. It was a young, you know, they try to match it up by age. So the guy was 28. So it was like 20-somethings. The guy was an attractive guy. And there was a lot of attractive women. And there was an attractive woman that he was talking to. And I forget why she had popped her balloon. Oh, she said she didn't really have a reason to pop it. The guys are like, what do you do for a living? He's like, oh, I'm a project manager at this construction company. And pop!
I saw that one.
And it's like, why did you pop it? And he's like, oh, I get along with my family and da. And the only girl that had her balloon left was this like really beautiful Haitian woman. And he walked over to her and he goes, well, I guess you're the only one. And I was like, first of all, why would you say that? Fucking idiot. Like, that's fucked up.
Well, I guess beggars aren't choosing.
Should have got gasoline on his ass.
He ended up popping her balloon, or he ended up telling her no. They were getting along. They had a lot of things in common. he was really close with his family. She was very close with her parents who were still together. And then he's like, I'm not really feeling you. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with her? She's too decent of a human.
They want to get their lick back. They want to feel like an ego boost again. The only thing better than getting a baddie is turning a baddie down.
That's so stupid.
I agree. No argument for me.
I don't.
Flight door.
Keep fucking with me. Okay. Well, look, let's go. Thank you guys for hanging out. We will be back Saturday with Cedric Johnson, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Katrina, the hurricane.
There's someone else on the show too.
I don't remember that lady.
Is it a lady?
I don't remember her name. Why do you want to bring that person up? Because I don't.
Good job. Way to represent for the ladies. Do you want me to find it?
Sure. Now we won't be pieces of poop.
Megan French Marceline.
I was not going to remember that name. Pascal should remember that name.
Is she Haitian?
I don't know who she is, but it sounds like a Haitian name.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a bunch of Haitians in New Orleans?
There are some Haitians in New Orleans. They're called citizens.
Yes. New Orleans is Haitian. That's how it got to be the way it is. Explain, Pascal, how those Haitians got
Louisiana Purchase, baby.
Right. And during and after the revolution.
That's right. They exported themselves over to Louisiana.
Oh, well, this sounds like a great I won't say anything. You guys, you do the intro and everything.
Oui.
Do the whole thing in Haitian. There you go.
Oh.
Come to TIR for the bilingual programming.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here with cartoons.
Out.
Peace.